Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Passport by Sophia Glock, a really interesting graphic novel, one I've been kind of looking forward to reading for a while, by Little, Brown and Company. So this is a semi-true story about Sophia Glock's life. She grew up outside of the United States, and it's kind of a coming-of-age story about a young woman trying to find her place in the world, trying to find her place in her family, and kind of discovering herself while at the same time finding out the truth about her parents. She kind of takes us through things, how she's moved a lot, how she's been in various countries. We don't quite know why. You know, obviously her parents, or it's pretty clear, at least to the reader, her parents work for the government or something of that nature, but doing what, we're not quite sure. Later in the book, we find out that her parents work for the CIA, that they're foreign service officers. Working for the CIA, and that she has to keep this secret. That it's an interesting story where it kind of finally is revealed in a kind of an anticlimactic way. I think really what's fascinating is just this person growing up in this country where she doesn't quite feel at home. And I think that's really the most interesting aspect of the graphic novel as a whole, is because of the life she'd lived, because of kind of what her parents have instilled with her, that she doesn't seem at ease no matter where she goes. She thinks that if she gets back to the United States, things are going to be fine. If she does X, Y, and Z, things are going to be fine. And she never finds I think the piece that she's looking for, at least in this graphic novel. And I think that's really what's kind of interesting, is it's not the fact her parents are CIA agents. That actually winds up being kind of a letdown in the story. I think really where the story is strongest and most interesting is the fact that Glock is showing this unease that so many can relate to growing up. She's in high school at this point and, trying to find herself, and I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. It just so happens that her issues stem from the fact her parents kind of mess her up a little bit and purposely don't get her to experience roots. Her mother constantly says stuff like where they're living isn't their home. You can see how this kind of impacts Sophia. I said it's a biographical graphic memoir, is that she does change facts, she does change details. She did have to go through the CIA to get approval. So, the ideas there, the concepts are there, the feelings are there, but, some of the names, the changes, locations, stuff like that has been changed. Overall, I think it's a really solid graphic novel in the, growing up memoir section, that type of story. There's a lot of graphic novels coming out today of people reflecting upon their childhoods and what it was like growing up and their experiences. In that sense, I think it's really good and something a lot of people can relate to. The whole reveal about the parents just feels like a nothing by the time you get to it. You've kind of picked up on it and figured it out. But, the actual reveal doesn't really seem to have much impact other than her being like, okay, cool. The art, I think, is solid. It has this interesting color of blues and pinks and whites. It really sticks to that. And there's some pages that are really cool. It never really dives down too much into where she lives and gives us a good sense of that, but I think that's also partially because she might have had to obscure some of that due to the nature of the story and her not being able to go into all the facts and details. But overall, I think it's an interesting story. It's an interesting experience, and where I connected to it and found the most interesting things isn't where I expected. It's just her uneasiness and her inability to find her home, and I think that's something I can relate to and understand. So yeah, it's an interesting aspect, and I think there's a lot to relate to for teens growing up, and even some adults. It's just, if you were looking for something of kid grows up with CIA parents, it's not it. It's really, that's not quite what the story is, which surprised me and kind of caught me off guard. But interesting read. Out now in comic shops, or I think bookstores, definitely. Comic shops, maybe. Definitely hit up your comic shop, though. They should be able to order this for you. We got a link beneath this video where you can go and find your local comic book shop. If you don't have a comic shop near you, no problem. We'll have some links as well where you can purchase. There'll be affiliate links, so we get a small percentage by doing that to support our site. So thank you. And speaking of support, I want to thank Little Brown Company for hooking us up with a review copy. And of course, thank you all for watching. If you're into comics, if you're into graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.